If you've been on the hunt for a job lately, then you know exactly what I'm about to say. The job market is completely screwed right now. All across the US, as well as here in Canada, people have been having more or less the exact same experience of spending months endlessly applying for hundreds, if not even thousands of jobs, and hearing absolutely nothing back. We're talking about people from almost every industry, from fresh college grads to people with years of experience in their field and master's degrees, you name it, unable to find work of any type. But the weird part is that if you were to look on Indeed or LinkedIn, it would seem as though there are tons of jobs available in every field. And even weirder is that in the US, the current unemployment rate is only reported to be around 4%, which is actually fairly low all things considered. In Canada, it's currently 7%, which honestly isn't great, but even still, that would imply that 96% of Americans and 93% of Canadians are employed, which is not too bad. Except that, like most statistics, the unemployment rate only tells you half the story.
Facts are meaningless. You can use facts to prove anything that's even remotely true.
Unemployment rates are one of the biggest factors used to gauge the stability of a country's economy, so it would be fair to say that accuracy is important, right? Well, in actuality, unemployment rates only factor in people who are currently completely without work and actively looking for a job. What they don't account for is, well, everyone else. They don't account for people who are only working part-time because they can't find full-time work. They don't account for people who are doing gig work while they look for a permanent job. They don't account for people who are dramatically underemployed compared to the skills and credentials they have. And they don't account for people who have given up altogether and just moved back to their parents' basement. Based on the way this data is reported, someone with a master's degree in engineering from MIT could be salting fries at McDonald's 3 nights a week. But hey, they're not unemployed. In reality, factoring all these precariously employed people into the stats would undoubtedly paint a much bleaker picture. Like, there's a big difference between having a job and being gainfully employed, but governments don't track that data. But if there are so many listings for open positions of all types, why are so many people unable to find work? How is it possible that someone with all the right qualifications can apply for thousands of jobs and not even hear a peep? I have 2 words for you. Ghost jobs. If, like me, you've been out of the job search for a while, what I'm about to say will sound crazy, but the majority of these job listings are fake. They're for jobs that don't exist. I mean, the companies are real, but they're not actually hiring for these positions. So really, you can spend all the time in the world crafting your resume and writing the perfect cover letter, but you're never going to get the job because there is no job to be had. They aren't really hiring. When I first heard about ghost jobs, I assumed what a lot of you are probably assuming right now, which is that it's just a conspiracy theory. I mean, why would a company waste their time and their resources posting openings for a position that they have no intention of filling? Like, what do they even have to gain from this? Naivety is a hell of a drug, isn't it? As it turns out, employers have a lot to gain from this, and so a lot of them are doing it. According to a survey on resumebuilder.com, 40% of companies have posted a fake job this year, and 30% currently have active fake listings. Most outrageously, 7 out of 10 hiring managers say that they think these practices are perfectly morally acceptable. But why are they doing it? Well, perhaps this should have been the most obvious point, but for starters, they're farming data. Collecting up job seekers' personal information to do really whatever they want with, and storing it so that yes, if the time comes when they actually are hiring at some point in the future, they can sift through and pick the best people for the job. Not that controversial really, but that's not even scratching the surface. Companies have figured out that when they post job openings, it gives the appearance that the company is growing and thriving, and it can have positive effects on their valuation and even cause their stock price to increase if they're publicly held. I'm no lawyer, but that kind of sounds like securities fraud to me. Even shittier though, is how these tactics are used to manipulate the company's current employees. By making it appear that they're considering external hires for open positions, even when they aren't, companies have figured out that employees will work much harder to try to secure a promotion before it's given to a new hire. And this fake pressure also gives them leverage to negotiate lower salaries. Oh, you want to be promoted to this role and you want $100K a year? I mean, honestly, we could just hire someone off the street and pay them $80K, so... Oh, you'll do it for $80K. Okay, great. By making it look like they're hiring, employers can make their workers feel anxious and like they're easily replaceable, which again causes them to work harder and expect less in return. And if they're already overworked and burnt out, posting fake job openings is a great way to make them think that you're hiring help to alleviate some of that pressure, which is great for employee morale. For these reasons, some companies will even go as far as to contact applicants and bring them in for interviews so that everyone can see that they're serious, even when they're absolutely not serious and have zero intention of actually hiring anybody. You know, it's tactics like this, the mind games, the exploitation, the time wasting, that pushed me to start my own businesses when I was young. Like, I saw people being taken advantage of and mistreated by their employers, and I thought there has to be a better way. And thankfully there is. I won't say that working for yourself is 100% sunshine and rainbows all the time, but generally the amount of BS that you have to deal with is much lower, and the amount of money you can make over time is a lot higher. And whether you're aiming to go full send into entrepreneurship or even just start a little side business for some extra cash, everything starts with having a great website so your customers can actually find you. Today's sponsor, .online, makes that easier than ever. With .coms so oversaturated now, the chances of you being able to secure a .com domain you actually want is next to zero. But with .online, you can easily get the domain you want without paying an arm and a leg. And think about this. The word online is searched for over 500 million times per month, meaning that it's baked in SEO gold that can help your website rank higher when someone searches for a business like yours. .online is the world's second largest new domain extension, and it's already trusted by over 3.5 million businesses worldwide. You can buy a .online domain pretty much anywhere, Squarespace, GoDaddy, Wix, Namecheap, but better yet, you can go straight to the source. If you use my link in the description and use the code Nicole at checkout, you can get your .online domain for just 99 cents for the entire first year. That's it, just 99 cents. How can you beat that? Click the link, use my code, and get your .online domain today. Look at this chart. This is the new hires to job postings ratio over time. Back in 2018 and 2019, roughly 75 to 80% of job postings led to a hire. By 2023, that number was less than 50%, and it's been steadily falling ever since. In the same period, there was a 120% increase in applicants saying that their recruiters ghosted them after their interview. It's so incredibly scummy from every angle. They're wasting the time and money of people who are unemployed and probably short on cash, making them dress up and drive to interviews for no reason and playing with their emotions. They're manipulating their current employees and causing them undue stress. And worst of all, they're artificially skewing important job market statistics that our governments rely on to run our economies. But of course, they don't care, because 68% of hiring managers reported that these ghost job listings had a positive outcome on the company's revenue. 65% said they saw an increase in employee morale, and 77% said they saw an increase in productivity. So basically, they made more money as a result, and fuck everyone and everything else. But okay, obviously not every job posting is a fake ghost job, so why is it that no one can find work? Well, the sad reality is that when you apply for a job, even if it's a real job, chances are that a human will never see your application. Most companies nowadays are using something called applicant tracking systems, or ATS. Basically, it's an algorithm that scans applicants' resumes for certain pieces of data and sorts them based on how well they align with specific criteria set by the hiring company. Then it forwards the top matches to the recruiter and just automatically rejects the rest. Companies claim that using ATS streamlines and improves their hiring process, and maybe on their end it does. I guess at the very least it saves them time. But the reality is that hundreds of perfectly qualified applicants are likely slipping through the cracks for each and every job opening, simply because their resumes aren't perfectly tailored to match the exact words and phrases the algorithm is searching for. And how can they know what those words and phrases are? They can't. It's basically just luck of the draw. I find it so crazy that corporations routinely do these kinds of things and then have the audacity to claim that no one wants to work anymore. People want to work. People want to make money. People want to take care of themselves and their families. They always have. But companies do everything in their power to make that impossible and then just shift the blame onto everyone else. They can post job openings for positions that don't even exist. They can interview people with zero intention of actually hiring them and use algorithms to automatically reject hundreds of qualified applications, just wasting everyone's time. But no, it's the workers that are the problem, right?
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
But okay, what is the workaround here? If you're currently looking for a job, or you will be soon, here's what you can do. First of all, learn to identify when a job posting is fake so you don't waste your time. Red flags to look for would be a position that's been active for several months already. They've probably had hundreds of applications in that time period, so why hasn't the position been filled? Vague job postings that mention very little about the requirements of the job, like the salary range or the hours or whether it's in-person or remote, and especially if they don't list very specific responsibilities for the job, it's probably a ghost job. If a company has posted the same job over and over again over a period of several months and seemingly been unable to fill the spot, it's either a ghost job or just a company with a really high turnover, but you probably shouldn't waste your time either way. When you're looking for work, try to prioritize in-person opportunities like job fairs to let you meet hiring managers face-to-face so you can bypass all the algorithmic bullshit. There is still a lot of value to first impressions, and while the opportunities for them may be less and less common, when they do pop up, you should definitely take them. Networking with other people in your field who may be able to put in a good word for you with their employer is also really important. You know the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know? Well, it's totally true. If there's an open position in a company, a glowing endorsement of you from an employee who knows you or who has maybe worked with you in the past can really give you a leg up against the competition. When you are applying for a job online, try to match the words on your resume very closely to the words used in the job listing to increase the chances of making the cut with the ATS software. And don't make your resume look too fancy or over-format it, because even that can cause the ATS to misread it and then send it straight to the trash pile, which is stupid, but it's true. If you're currently pursuing or you're planning to pursue higher education of any type, college, university, online courses, trade school, whatever, do some research ahead of time and find out what the job market looks like for the line of work you're preparing to enter into. Is there a lot of demand for that profession in your area, or will you be competing with hundreds of other people for very few openings? The last thing you want to do is spend thousands of dollars and years of your life studying for a job that you'll never be able to land. And as always, I'll advocate for self-employment whenever possible. I really believe that everyone has a skill of some sort that is marketable. Starting your own business or freelancing in your field is a great way, one of the best ways really, to bypass all this nonsense and just go straight to making money. And it can even serve as a networking opportunity if you do still want to land a traditional job in time. I can tell you firsthand that working for myself for the last 10 years, running a small service-based business, I have met and formed relationships with so many people across pretty much any industry you can think of. And if tomorrow I woke up and I wanted to get a 9-to-5, my first step would be to reach out to someone I know in that industry and see what direction they can point me in. Hell, I've had people straight up offer me jobs in fields that I have no experience in, just because they came to know me through my current work and they liked me and they liked my work ethic. I've been offered jobs in insurance sales and marketing and bookkeeping, and I don't have a background in any of that stuff. But this is what networking is all about. If I ever decided I wanted to go into one of those fields, I already have leads for jobs just from the people I've met while running my own completely unrelated business. And it's really not that hard. Like, whether you detail cars or clean houses or do landscaping, or maybe you're a consultant or an accountant, or maybe you design apps. Make yourself a little website, post on some local classifieds, find a couple customers. Worst case scenario, you have a decent little side hustle to tide you over while you look for work. Best case scenario, you build a viable business that pays for your life. Or maybe you meet someone in the process who can help you land the job you actually want. And if you're currently employed, just remember that your employer doesn't care about you. If you got hit by a bus tomorrow, they would replace you by the end of the week, and business would carry on like nothing happened. So take your PTO, call in sick when you're sick, turn off your phone after 5 p.m., and if you're offered a better opportunity with another company, take it, and don't feel guilty for it. If you don't look out for yourself, who's going to? If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at according_to_Nicole. Leave me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. I'm particularly interested in hearing from people who are currently on the job hunt, or maybe if you're a hiring manager for a company, I would love to know your thoughts on all this. So comment below, let me know what you think. Other than that, thank you guys so much as always for watching. Take care, and I will see you next week.